Maya had always been strangely drawn to cooking since childhood. Unlike other chefs, regular recipes never satisfied her. Instead, she found joy in discovering unknown, mysterious recipes and experimenting with them. Her friends often joked, "Maya, your cooking isn't just about food, it feels like solving a mystery." One day, while visiting an old bookstall on the outskirts of town, she came across a dusty, leather-bound book. The title of the book, Deserts of the Damned, was written in golden letters on the old cover, almost as if the words were staring back at her. The moment Maya picked up the book, it felt as though it was calling to her. Curious, she asked the shopkeeper about it, but he looked uneasy. "Think twice before buying this book," the shopkeeper warned. "There are many stories about it. No one who has tried cooking from it has ever found happiness." Maya chuckled and replied, "Oh, people love telling stories. I'm just getting it for the recipes." The shopkeeper sighed, still hesitant, and said, "All right, but be careful. What's written inside is not always what it seems." Returning home with the book, Maya flipped through its pages and came across a recipe that caught her eye. At the bottom of the recipe was a line that read, "This pie brings the memories of the dead to life." Maya laughed, finding it amusing. "Now that sounds like a fun challenge," she thought. However, little did she know, this fun recipe would lead her into a cursed world, one where escaping would be nearly impossible. Maya sat at the kitchen table at night and picked up the book again. The list of memory pie recipes was in front of her, but today her mind had become even more curious. It felt like this couldn't be an ordinary pie. Every word in the book seemed to tell her something new. Bringing the memories of the dead to life, this line kept running through her head. How strange, but also a little exciting. The first part of the book mentioned some ingredients. Maya went out to collect each ingredient. First, she needed white rose petals. She went to the garden and picked up a white rose, but the air there was strangely a little cold. Maya felt a little uneasy, but she ignored it and moved on. Then she went to buy black cumin extract from the market. The shopkeeper looked at her suspiciously for a moment, but gave her the item without saying anything. Maya stopped her strange breathing and quickly left the shop with the packet in her hand. Now came the strangest ingredient: blood. Maya paused a bit. The book said, "You have to use your own blood." At first she thought, maybe it was a bit metaphorical, but then she decided she could give a drop of blood. She pricked her finger with a needle, collected another drop of blood, and mixed it according to the instructions in the book. After all this preparation, Maya went to the kitchen and gathered all the ingredients. She felt a strange excitement in her mind and a little fear. She started reading a few more pages of the book. To make this pie, it had to be made at exactly midnight, it was written, but only after that time would its true power be revealed. When the clock reached midnight, Maya put the pie in the oven. A kind of silence fell in the kitchen. The pie was being prepared, but the atmosphere around it was becoming strange. The lights were going down every now and then, and a storm was starting outside the window. Maya had never felt such a feeling before. Finally, the pie was ready. Maya took the pie out of the oven and saw that it was absolutely perfect. Golden brown crust, sweet smell, and a strange ray seemed to be coming out of the pie. Maya took the pie in her hand and cut a piece. As soon as she took the first bite, her body went cold, as if a door to some terrifying world had opened. The pie tasted amazing, but there was something else. Memories of the past began to flash before her eyes. Memories she had forgotten, her grandmother's face, her childhood days, even scenes of her unknown fears seemed to come flooding back. In a moment, a strange atmosphere formed around Maya. She realized that this pie was not only her taste, it was showing her something beyond her control. She stood up, trembling, but then another image appeared before her. The strange feeling that Maya had started to have after eating the pie quickly faded away. Memories of the past began to mingle with the confusion and fear that had formed around her. But the scariest thing was that she didn't know where this curse would end. The taste of the pie seemed to be dragging her into an unknown world, and she couldn't even notice how much time had passed, even as she sat in the kitchen. strange scenes kept appearing before her eyes. Her grandmother's smile on one side, and scenes she never wanted to see on the other. But these were nothing. The fear was working much deeper within her. Just then, the door opened and Maya's friend Ria entered. Ria and Maya were best friends. Ria never commented on Maya's cooking, but this mysterious recipe aroused curiosity in her. Seeing Maya in such a strange state, Ria quickly came forward. "Maya, are you okay? Why is your face so pale?" Ria looked at Maya in shock. Maya tried to stand up, but her legs were stiff, as if frozen. She just stared at Ria. Her eyes were filled with fear and a sense of not being able to understand anything. Ria asked again, but Maya didn't say anything. Ria thought that maybe Maya was tired, or maybe she was sick for some reason. She laid Maya down on the pillow and washed her face with some water. But strangely, Maya's body started to get colder, and her fingers started to tremble. Ria realized that something was wrong. At the same time, that image flashed through Maya's eyes again. Her grandmother, who was suffering on her deathbed, and a strange, unusual face appeared before her. Maya looked at Ria trembling and said, "Ria, I'm fine." But her voice was so broken that it seemed as if someone else was speaking through her mouth. Ria sat silently for a while, holding her hand. Looking at Maya, she said, "You don't know anything, do you? This pie of yours, it shows you something, I tell you the truth." Right then, Ria realized that something had changed in Maya. Fear, panic, and some unusual feeling was shining in Maya's eyes. After a while, Maya just stared blankly. A strange shimmering light appeared around her, as if a fog was rising from some unknown place. Ria then became alert. She knew that this pie was not just for Maya. It could show her life a new side. A terrible, unresolved side. And at that very moment, Maya stood up and looked straight at Ria and said, "I can't control this. They're coming to see me. They're coming back." No words came out of Ria's mouth. Before her eyes, darkness slowly gathered inside Maya's eyes, and a terrifying force began to surround her. Ria knew that Maya was no longer the same. It was something very mysterious, or strange, that had opened the gates of an unknown world to her. At this moment of becoming Maya's first victim, Ria knew that this was no longer just an ordinary pie. Maya's condition had become even more terrifying for Ria. There was an impossible depth to the confusion Maya was seeing in her eyes, a confusion that was beginning to consume not only her, but everyone around her as well. When Ria thought about Maya's condition, she thought that this pie would only affect Maya, but she was wrong. Just because Maya was the first victim didn't mean that it would only affect her. Maya was lying awkwardly on the bed, a strange, light, blurry vision in her eyes. Her body temperature had become incredibly cold, and her hands and feet seemed to be motionless. Ria was sitting next to her, but a doubt arose in her mind. Was this just Maya's problem, or was someone else going to fall victim to its effects? Ria couldn't leave Maya alone. She had to do something. She picked up the book, Deserts of the Damned. Turning the pages, she found the recipe again, the one that read, "This pie awakens the memory of death, and if you are not careful after eating it, you will become physically and mentally weak, and its effects can spread to many others." Ria was shocked and closed the book. The meaning was clear. It could be a danger not only for Maya, but for everyone around her. Ria decided to call a friend of Maya's, whom she knew very well. His name was Aditya. Aditya was a doctor, and Ria knew that he could figure everything out in a short time. When Ria called and spoke to her, Aditya got a little annoyed and said, "Ria, have you gone completely crazy? Don't you know what kind of experience Maya is having? It's a mental problem, nothing from the book to reality." However, Ria tried to convince Aditya that this was not some ordinary mental condition, but something that was happening in real life. Aditya thought that she would come, but she couldn't bring anyone with her, because she knew that if Maya really felt something like that after eating that pie, she would have to pay attention. However, Maya's condition worsened. Over the next few hours, she went to sleep shaking, but in her sleep she started fidgeting. Another strange name kept coming out of her mouth, Maya, my Maya. A kind of creepy atmosphere was created. Just then, Aditya arrived. He quickly sat down next to Maya, checked her body temperature and saw that she was quite ill. Her condition was starting to worsen. Multiple internal scenes flashed through his eyes at the same time, as if this was not just an illusion of Maya's brain, but her entire "something is coming out of me, Rhea, I can't do anything," Aditya said in a panic. "It's not possible for Maya." Rhea looked at Aditya in surprise and said, "But what will you do? It's not just Maya's problem, I'm sure. It's spreading fast." This was the moment when Aditya realized that it wasn't just Maya's problem. After eating the pie, its effects could affect him and other people around him as well. This curse started spreading like wildfire in a flash. Maya's condition continued to worsen. The room seemed to be getting strangely dark. There was a kind of uneasiness in the air. Smoke began to float before her eyes, and strange questions arose in her mind. Every word, every memory seemed to come back anew. She could not understand anything. Is this pie's effect only on her, or is there some deeper mystery hidden in it? Rhea and Aditya try to take Maya to the hospital, but Maya does not listen to them. She knows that something strange is flowing inside her, as if this pie has opened the door to a new world for her. Maya feels like she is trapped in an ancient curse. Maya picks up the book again late one night and starts turning the pages. Something new caught her eye. An ancient version of the story said, when a person's blood comes into contact with them, they can absorb a memory. It will then flow into the brains of the people of the world and awaken. A glint appeared in Maya's eyes. She realized that the pie was not only creating memories in her brain, it might also affect others around her. An ancient curse that revives the memories of the dead. It cannot be broken. It is a process that brings back fears and past mistakes in people. She continued to turn more pages of the book, but each line became more and more terrifying. A new doubt arose within her. If this pie was truly a curse, then why had the recipe disappeared from the entire world? Why had this book been invisible for so long, only to be found in her hands? Something was deceiving her. Maya knew that she had to solve this mystery, or she and everyone around her would be headed for a terrible end. She quickly turned more pages of the book and saw a strange formula. It was written that if only one person knew the root of this curse, it would be possible to overcome it. But Maya did not understand what this formula meant. At that moment, Maya remembered a story her grandmother had once told her. Grandma used to say, "As you get older, the world becomes more mysterious, but some mysteries can never be understood." Maya felt that maybe this mystery could be the only uplift in her life. Doubts were growing in her mind, and Maya knew that she had to find out everything. She decided that tomorrow she would go to an old local library, where ancient books are preserved, to find out the real secret of the book. She would go there and collect information, so that she could know how this curse started, and how it was possible to get rid of it. This was a crucial moment in her life where fear on one side and inner strength on the other were driving her forward. Time seemed to have stopped for Maya. Every day was passing by one, but an inexplicable fear was working in her mind. The curse of pie had fallen on her in such a way that it was as if her very existence was no longer safe. She did not understand how everything around her had become chaotic. An unusual restlessness, strange behavior had begun to appear in everyone. She felt that this was not only a problem in her life, this is a huge crisis that could destroy the world he knows. Another thought was swirling in her mind, is it possible to get rid of this curse? She opened the book and kept turning the pages over and over, but nothing was clear inside her. Everything was becoming vague, confusing. She knew that just reading the pages of the book would not do anything. She had to take some practical steps, do something to stop the effects of this curse. One day, late at night, Maya made a plan. She knew that she must return to the pile of old books in the library, where ancient religious and historical texts were preserved. There, perhaps, she would find some information that would tell her how to break the curse. Her conversation with Rhea was a little different. Rhea trusted Maya, but she knew that some great danger was waiting. "Maya, are you sure you will go alone?" Rhea said worriedly. "This is not just your problem. It can affect many others." Maya said firmly, "If I don't do this, no one else will be able to do anything. This curse will destroy not only me, but everyone." Saying this, Maya set off towards the library. The old library in the city was almost silent. It was located in a secluded place, just outside the city. After opening the library door, the sound of the old wooden floor and the smell of dust seemed to confront Maya. She entered, and as she saw piles of books before her eyes, her mind began to sink into anxiety. She knew that some invaluable information might be hidden here. A feeling gripped her hand. This was her last chance. As she turned the pages of the book one by one, Maya looked up at a scroll after a while. The book was called Old Prophecy of the Freud. Maya opened the book and began to read deeply. It read, "A person who stores the memories of the dead must remain alive for a time. Others begin to be influenced by it. The only way to break this curse is to break the world of memories, and the owner of those memories a new life must be given." Maya's eyes sparkled. This meant that she would not only be able to get rid of the curse of memory, but she would have to walk a new path. She would have to change her life forever, so that the effects of the curse would end. Maya realized that her only way out was to get out of the old world of memory and go to the place where this curse was created and break the memory. It was a very dangerous path, but she knew that the biggest struggle of her life was here. She decided that she would implement her plan from tomorrow. But before that, she wanted to get some guidance from Maya where the main power of the curse lies. Maya felt a kind of inner peace. Even though she knew that a terrible journey lay ahead, her mind was firm. Tonight could be the last night of her life, or a new world would be created. That was her thought. She had taken all the information in her hands and finalized her plan. The information Maya found while going to the old library outside the city was the most important discovery of her life. She knew that, since this curse revived the memories of the dead, she had to free herself from the clutches of those memories. But breaking the chains of memories and starting a new life was not an easy task, so would she ever be able to overcome the curse? She had spoken to Ria for the last time. Ria tried to convince her, "Maya, you don't know. This curse has no end. What can you do alone? If you harm yourself, what can anyone else do?" Maya said with a firmness in her eyes, "This is not just my journey, Ria. One day everyone will know the curse that was there has been broken. But I have to have the chance to do it." Then Maya, in the darkness of a night, took the risk and returned to that place in the library where the power of ancient memories is the greatest. She knew that this was the only chance of her life. It would either succeed or she would be lost. Maya stood there like a single ant. A new reality was forming before her eyes. She had the recipe for that cursed pie in her hands. One last try, she made the pie again, but this time she had played with her feelings completely. She was not asked for anything else to break the memory. Her mind had opened, as if she had gained the power to get out of that nightmare trap herself. After a long wait, Maya felt a strange power begin to flow through her. It was not only her physical condition that changed, but the sky around her was also changing. The outside world was no longer as it was. She felt like she was about to start a new life, a life without any curse, without any darkness. After a few moments, Maya felt the inner power in her body. She was free. The curse was over. Maya knew that she had brought a new sun not only to her own life, but to the lives of others as well. She had seen the pages of that book for the last time. It was an indelible chapter in her life. It had told Maya that the curse could be broken, but her journey, her struggle, would be a powerful message not only for her, but for the future. This was Maya's story, one that contained the darkness of fear, but also the symbol of liberation from an invisible force. Now, a new world, a new sun, stood before her. This was her end, but not the real end. Her journey was unresolved, and she may have to face many more curses in the future. So stay with us by subscribing to our channel, and if you like the video, like it and comment on my opinion. Thank you. Be well.